to the We Were Athletes Once podcast. I'm Cody, and I'm here with Julian, and we are so excited to talk about some Olympic hockey. We gave our predictions last week, or 2 weeks ago, maybe. It was 2 weeks ago, yeah, because we didn't want to do an episode where the quarterfinals were going to start the night we would have recorded, and then they would have happened by the time that we got it out. So we just let it play out, and I'm going to say you did mighty good on your predictions over there.
Oh yeah.
All three. Oh yeah, you killed it. But we want to talk about some things that we saw. We want to talk about that gold medal game. We want to talk about the things that led up to it, and maybe some things that certain fan bases are upset about. And we'll probably just start quarterfinals on because pool play. There were a few exciting games, but ultimately, Group A and Group C were pretty boring. They pretty much played out exactly how they thought they were going to play out. Group B, though, we might just have to start there. Group B, some surprising outcomes. So you had picked Finland to win Group B. I picked Sweden to win Group B, and somehow we were both wrong.
Yep.
Slovakia. Group B winner ended up being Slovakia. Slovakia, huge upset, game 1 of the tournament, beating Finland 4-1, and then Finland beat Sweden pretty easily, and then Sweden beat Slovakia pretty easily. So we had the whole 3-way tie going on there that went to goal differential, and our boy Dalibor Dvorsky scored with 30 seconds left. To go down only 2 to Sweden to lock up that top seed. Was there a world where you could have seen this outcome?
No. I for sure. I mean, Slovakia, we talked about them being maybe like a sleeper team, but not a team that wins their group and go all the way to I think it was the semifinals. So I didn't see that coming, especially out of that group. Maybe they get a sneaky win over like a USA or something like that and take the group, but beating over both Sweden and Finland to win that group is pretty impressive out of them. So it's a good, bright future.
Yeah, for sure. There was no way that I saw Slovakia. I had them as my number 9 team out of 12 for the tournament. I did not see that. I didn't see that goalie going off in the way he did. He looked fantastic. He carried them some, and then they had 2 young guys carrying the team. And we're going to talk about some of the guys that maybe stood out to us. So I'll save those for a minute because I think we're going to have a few of those guys on that list. But Group A played out exactly as we thought. Canada won. Czechia was second. And then in Group C, US won. And Germany barely eked out a higher seed than Latvia, but they did lose to Latvia. So there was some weird stuff that was going on. And so when it came to the quarters, we got the 1 seed ended up going to Canada because they just destroyed France, who looked awful, which gave them a goal differential over the U.S. And the U.S. got the worst draw you could possibly have gotten in the quarters. U.S. pulls Sweden in the quarter. That is not what you ever want to see. Again, this is a team that I picked to win the bronze, to win their division, and you get them as the 7 seed coming out into the quarters. That was very, very big game that I was nervous about, that went to overtime. It was a great game. We were sweating it out there for a while. Sweden took on Czechia again, I believe. Is that what I got? Yeah. Sweden had Czechia again. The Swiss had Finland, and Germany and Slovakia. So we got some interesting ones there. Canada, Czechia, they already took care of them pretty easily. but this was not an easy game.
No.
3 of these 4 games went into overtime, and I'm not going to lie. Again, I'm a teacher. I have a laptop and I have a monitor above it. And all day long, I had that monitor open with it muted so I could see what was going on in every single game that happened. And the only game that didn't go to overtime was like the 5 a.m. game, the
Yeah.
Germany Slovakia game. And Slovakia kind of kicked the crap out of Germany. But after that, we had some awesome games. I think the next game was the Finland game
I think
um,
so. Yeah.
against the
From
Swiss, and the Swiss were up. They were up 2-0 in the third period with like 6.5 minutes left, and Finland kicked it into high gear and took into overtime and ultimately got the win. Um,
yeah.
that was I didn't see that one coming either.
No. No. There's been some surprising teams who, or maybe some teams not so surprising, but teams that weren't playing their expectations.
Yeah, maybe that was it because I the whole time I was like, man, these teams are just kind of coming out of nowhere. But looking back, I think it might have been more of what you're saying there. Maybe some of these teams were playing down to competition or just not putting it all together. Um,
Yeah.
the Latvians, the Finns always play tough as a team
Yeah.
game, but the Swiss, the Latvians, the Slovaks, man, they looked like teams that had played together for a while, and some of these other teams didn't look like they knew what was going to happen. Even in a couple of the U.S. games early on, they didn't look like they had it together. It was a lot of individual stuff, a lot of passes where players should have been but weren't. Like they just didn't look connected. Um, and so I think there were some of those games where, some of these lesser teams took advantage of it and kind of put the belt to them. But the Finns do tie it late. They win in overtime. They get through, and then we have Canada and Czechia. And man, I thought Canada was beat.
I
Um,
thought so too. It was almost there.
Czechia got a late goal, and then it looked like they were gonna be able to hang in there, and then
Crumbled.
freaking crumbled, man. Um, that was the McKinnon goal, right? With like 30
Yeah.
seconds left or some 29 seconds. One timer. They take a penalty, which you can't do against Canada. Like you can't let McKinnon, McDavid, Celebrini, McCarr, like you can't let that group on the ice a man down and not expect. And it was a great play. Like they got to pass all the way across the seam to Ovi's office, and McKinnon drilled it.
Yep.
And I don't even remember who was in goal for Czechia, but whoever it was, man, he got over and almost he got a piece of it, just couldn't squeeze it shut. And then obviously it goes into overtime and Canada wins,
Of
unfortunately.
course.
But I was talking to people and I was like, listen, would I rather, if the U.S. advances, play Czechia or Finland or whoever over Canada? Yeah, I would like that easier matchup, but I want to beat Canada.
Yeah.
Like that,
Yeah.
like I don't want to win it and Canada not be the team we beat because then it just doesn't count. Like it's not the same. So as much as I wanted to see Canada lose, I'm glad that they won to give us a chance to see that game. And then the U.S. and Sweden again. U.S. gives up a late goal. They're up 1-0 like the whole game. Give up a late goal, and in my mind, as a Blues fan, I was doing the "oh no, here we go again" type of thing
Yep.
because as Blues fans this year, we've seen them just blow late leads and then they can't play in overtime. We lose every freaking game that goes to overtime. And this has gone on for not just this year. Like obviously, we remember 3 seconds. So we have some traumatic experiences here with going into overtime and losing late. So in my mind, man, I'm driving home and I've got it on my dash so I can hear it plugged into my speakers, and I'm just waiting to hear that we lose. And Quinn pulls off a nice little move and rips one top shelf and gets us into the semis. With that though, like the US got the hardest draw in the quarters, but I think it gave us a way better draw in the semis.
100%. Slovakia
Like
was
I would
awesome.
much rather have played Slovakia than Finland.
100%. Playing Sweden then Finland back to back, and then say we beat Finland, then playing
And then
Canada.
you
That's
got
brutal.
that would have been a gauntlet, man.
Yeah, that's brutal. And
Uh,
it still was. You had to go through Sweden, which arguably was one of the better teams, and Slovakia won their group. So, I mean, it just, when watching that game, it was just started early on. United States had more, I don't know if chemistry is the word, but they had more fire. They were playing with more speed. It was just, from the beginning, just over.
yeah, it was one where I think at the end of the first it was 1-0, and then by the end of the second you're like, oh, this is going to be a beatdown.
Yeah.
But it was a good thing for the U.S. They ended up winning it. I want to say 6-3
It was
or
6-2.
6-2. Okay,
Yeah.
but it was one of those games where it was like 5-0, and it was good because you're getting the gold medal game next. You can start rolling through all of your lines. You can give some guys a break. Like Tage Thompson ended up getting a little banged up, and they could sit him for the rest of the game. They don't got to put him out there. You can get that 13th forward some more time. You can get that fourth line some more time. You can get the top pairing D out, and you can kind of put it in cruise control. And they did. And so, yeah, it was 6-2, but if they would have kept the pedal to the metal, it would have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
So U.S. gets a big win over Slovakia, 6-2, puts them in the gold medal game, and we got Canada, Finland, and again, I thought this was going to be kind of a crazy game, and I could have seen this one going either way too. Like I said, Finland is just one of those teams that somehow pulls off these big upsets. They don't have a lot of the huge profile name guys most of the time, but they play really well as a team. And they find a way. And they almost did again. But like we said, Canada finds a way late in the game, comes out on top, gets the 3-2 win. I for sure thought that game was going into overtime. But
It seemed like an
again,
easy game, but being up 2-0, it's just like, come on. Just hold on for a
yeah.
few seconds longer.
Well, especially when Eric Holla got that shorthanded goal to put him up 2.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, man, this could break Canada. Which I should have known it wasn't, because that team is just so loaded. And the big story out of that one was that Sidney Crosby got hurt in the quarters and did not play in the semis. So they did do it without their captain, and that was a big point going into all of these late games. Was they're like, oh, they're without their captain, they're without Crosby, but you take Crosby out of that lineup, that's still the best lineup on paper, easily.
Oh, yeah. I don't need.
It's like, okay,
you have him there for the leadership, but
yeah. I'm like, you look at it.
He's more there for the leadership than what his ability is now.
And I agree. And he was sitting in the locker room the whole time. So, like, he was there with the team between periods, talk with them, all that stuff. But I just look at that roster, and you take Crosby off it and you compare it to every other roster, and they're still 2 lines deeper than every other team. Like, that's
agreed.
Like, how many captains are on that team? Like, there is a ton. So I'm like, oh no, someone's got to wear the C. Which one of our captains in the NHL are going to wear it? I guess it's going to go to McDavid. Like, oh, big deal. Like, what are we doing? So yeah. So Canada's without Crosby. They do get the win late against Finland, and it sets up the game that everyone wanted to see. USA, Canada. And it was kind of a big story already before this, because we got to watch the U.S. women beat Canada 3 days before. And the U.S. had beaten Canada in the women's like 7 or 8 times in a row. But there's just something about the Olympics and the gold medal game that the U.S. women lose to Canada every time, no matter how much they've beaten them recently. And I thought it was going to happen again.
Hillary Knight.
Yeah, U.S. gets a power play late. Maybe not even power play. They pulled their goalie late. Hillary Knight gets that deflection, ties the game up, and Megan Keller scores, little breakaway backhand, blocker side under that blocker to get the win for the U.S. to get their third Olympic gold for the women. And that set up what was perfect for the men because we got U.S. Canada again. We had a lot of the women in the house for that. We had a men in the house for the women's game, so it was cool to see. And we're 46 years to the day of the 1980 Miracle on Ice. February 22nd was the game for them. February 22nd was the day for this. You just saw all these things lining up, and you're like, man, it would just be perfect if this happened and it went down this way. What were your thoughts on that gold medal game?
We came out pretty hot, but so did Canada. I think it was 3 or 4 minutes in. Wilson had that really big hit on Larkin, and I have no
how
idea
that's
how
not a charge. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how Larkin got up from that. It was a very good hit. It was very very hard, very fast. They were both moving, coming right at each other. It was a really good hit, and I think that swung the momentum. I don't know in which way, honestly, but something changed. The game picked up really fast. And then Canada was putting some pressure on. I think it was 4-0 on shots. And Boldy makes a nice little move, kind of juggling the puck in between. And what I think is their two best defenders. They already have the chemistry to play on the same team. You got Devin Tays and Cale Makar. Skates right in between them and beats Spinner. And that goal, I think, it really helped because the second period was brutal. Watching there, I was watching a couple of my buddies, and it was just like, oh, when is it coming? I don't know when they're going to score. And I think Makar tied it up in the second before the period with a minute left. But the second was a really, really, really hard watch after like the first 10 minutes of it. We were kind of keeping up on shots. And then that 5-on-3, I think it was that period, swung the momentum. And it was an onslaught of shots. And Hellebuck stood tall. And that second period, I think it was also the Hellebuck save on Devin Tays with the paddle. That might be the best save I think I've ever seen in my entire life watching live. And we were sitting there like, how did he miss that? How did he miss that? And they finally showed the replay, and it's like, no, it was Hellebuck.
Yeah.
But the pressure was ridiculous from Canada for probably like the last 12 to 10 minutes of the second period and almost all the third period until we got that 4-minute high sticking power play. But we took 3 minutes into that for them to have a power play too. So it was stressful, very stressful. And we sneak our way into OT. I think we got it. It sounds bad, but I think we got kind of lucky to Hellebuck played on a ridiculous game to get us that far. And you can say, oh, there was missed calls. There was the one for the too many men on the U.S. There's been missed calls all game. I think they're letting them play. And for some reason, I thought it was 5-on-5 OT. I was sitting there like, no, it's 3-on-3. I was like, for the gold medal still, it's 5. It's
stupid.
3-on-3. And we're sitting there in the intermission. We're sitting like, all right, who are 3? And then who are their 3? We're like, all right, McDavid, McKinnon, Makar.
Well, we're screwed.
Yeah, who are our 3? And it's like Quinn Hughes. Okay, I personally think Quinn Hughes is better than Cale Makar, in my opinion. I'd rather have Quinn Hughes over Cale Makar, right now at least. Maybe not the last 4 years, but right now. And then I think it was Eichel and Kachuk or something like that. Eichel and Matthews. But sure, we have great players, but you have probably the two or three best players in the world. You're going against in a 3-on-3 with that much space, giving those guys that much space. And I think it was Hughes that made the play to get it around the Makar, who pinched up, and then Werenski got in and played it over to Hughes to win it. But it was very stressful, is how I'd put it.
Oh, for sure. I was so nervous and excited for this game that I was like on my couch. It's like midnight, and I'm like so nervous. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to sleep. Like, I set my alarm for 6:30. I told my wife, I'm like, 7 a.m. Make sure my butt is up. I'm watching this game, whatever. And so 3:30 rolls around. I'm still up. I ended up falling asleep at like 5:30. woke up at 6:30. So I'm like my hour of sleep. I feel miserable because of it. And my wife's like, hey, it's 7 a.m. I'm like, yeah, I'm up. The game's already turned on. What are we talking about here? I got my Mike Ruzioni jersey on because I wore it for Friday for the semis when we won. I'm like
Yep.
superstitious. I wore the same socks, the same jeans I was wearing to school, the same undershirt I was wearing. I'm like, nothing is gonna change. I gotta do it the same. So I was a little crazy over it, and like you, I was like, first period, I'm like, all right, we're playing all right, and that hit was crazy. I'm like, how is this not a charge? He flew off of his feet, diving at the dude. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
like if we're gonna play that way, that's cool. But you better not call some crap when the Kachucks do something because I know they will.
Oh yeah.
And I actually like the refing. I enjoyed how they didn't call a whole lot and they let them play. I think that's what it needed to be. I know they're mad about the too many men. I mean, you shot a puck around, it hit a guy as he's getting off the ice. Other guys jumped off and then he played it. So, like, by the time he actually played the puck, there were not too many men. And if they don't play the puck, half the time refs don't call it anyway. Like,
Yeah.
accidental interference with it, like, cool. But again,
I
there's
also
calls
don't
on
care
both
about comeback
sides.
penalties. They
No,
have a 5-on-3 with those players and couldn't score.
you had a 5-on-3 for over a minute 40 and couldn't
Yeah.
score.
Couldn't
Uh,
score.
U.S.
I don't-
U.S. penalty kill ended up perfect for the tournament. They were
Mhm.
either 19 for 19 or 20 for 20. It was absolutely
It's
insane.
nuts. Nuts.
And so I'm gonna give the U.S. Uh, roster committee or whatever they're going to call themselves. I'm going to give them full credit because we talk crap on some of their decisions. We're like, why
I was
is
gonna
Hudson
knock
not on this team?
Yeah,
Why
I
is
was knocking Brock Nelson.
no
Brock Nelson was
Caulfield
probably
on
the
this
top three
team?
best player for the U.S.
Why is Robertson not on this team? Why is JT Miller and Brock Nelson on this team? They know more than us. We're going to give you
They
full
showed up.
credit, roster committee. You guys should have been there. I'm going to go back, and it's so me being the sentimental person I am. I watched Miracle the night before. I watched Herb Brooks' speech like 7 different times. My eyeballs might have sweated a little bit because I was so nervous and excited for it. But I'm gonna go back to what he said. I'm not looking for the best players. I'm looking for the right ones, and the U.S. picked the right players for this tournament.
Yeah,
Brock Nelson and JT Miller and Vinny Trocheck, like they were game changers for the U.S. They killed off every penalty. They won big face-offs, and they scored a lot of timely goals. So I'm gonna give them their props because they deserve it, and I'm not gonna say just us. I'm gonna say the entire hockey community in the United States kind of dogged on those selections, and we can all shut our mouths now because they were right. But yeah, I'm watching this game, and like you said, about halfway through the game in that second period, momentum completely shifted. US couldn't get pucks out of their zone. When they did, they just flipped it, high flips up and out. If they got it in the defensive zone, it was a one shot and we're out within 10 seconds. And Canada was just dominating the play. And then they get that 5-on-3 for that long. And I thought that was over. Like I texted my dad and I'm like, this is why we're gonna lose this game because we're doing this. We're being lazy. We're not getting pucks in deep, and then we're taking stupid penalties because we're not moving our feet to recover. So I fully expected us to lose that game once those things happened. And then my other thing was I'm like, Connor Hellbuck is playing lights out right now. We know that Connor Hellbuck does not play well in clutch games. It is not something he's known for. He's known for crumbling under the pressure. And my whole mindset was, all right, it looks really good, but when is he going to fumble it? When is he going to make one just stupid goal that gets let in? And it didn't happen. And like you say, that paddle save reaching back was insane. I thought he missed 2, and that was awesome. So that was phenomenal. Obviously, that was a whole nerve wracking. They had 19 shots alone in the second period, which is insane because that just means the rest of the game, first, third, and overtime, was only 22 shots or 23 shots. Um, so yeah, like it was filthy. Um, they get the goal to tie it up with like a minute 14 left in the second, and we go to the third, and it's physical, it's fat. Like I don't know about you, that might have been the fastest hockey game I've ever watched. Like they were
Oh yeah.
flying both ways. Um, so anyone who doesn't watch hockey that watched that, and you're like, man, this is awesome. I got to watch NHL. Just be prepared. It's going to be just a little bit slower than that. Not a lot, but they're not going to be moving that fast the entire game. There's going to be some slowdowns in it because that was insane. But yeah, so I was the same way as you. I had to look up whenever they said overtime. I was like, they're really going to freaking do 3-on-3. I was so mad. Because I was like, this is not how we want a gold medal game to end. We want it to be 5-on-5. We want it to be real hockey. And so, my wife's like, hey, we're leaving for church. You ready to go? And I'm like, no, I'm not ready. I'm like, the period just ended 3-on-3. I'm used to NHL. Like, it's going to start here in just a second. And we're probably going to be 5 minutes and done with how fast this is going right now. I was like, just give me like 5 minutes. I'm like doing my quick research on my phone. I'm like, oh, they're doing a full intermission. All right, let's go. So I get to church and I'm on my phone on my Peacock app and I'm watching it with a couple other people as we're waiting for our service to start. And then we scored and we freak out, the few of us watching. And then everyone in the church that's with us is like, we won. We're like all celebrating together. It was awesome. But that's what's cool about the Olympics, man. Like, people who don't care about hockey, who don't watch hockey, we're huddled around a phone 5 minutes before church starts because we want to see if these boys can do it.
Yep.
And so it was amazing. It was awesome. And one of the things I wanted to bring up is butthurt Canadians. Nathan MacKinnon, did you see his quote?
Yeah, the better team won, or you be the judge of who the better team was today.
Yeah, you be the judge of who the better team was out there today. All right, I'm gonna let you know something, Nathan. You missed a wide open, like 6-foot gaping net, and you want to complain about the better team not winning? How about you hit a net and you don't go to overtime, you win a game, right? Like,
oh yeah,
like a little kid could have hit the net from there.
Yeah,
it was
my friends
insane.
believe it when he was the one to miss that.
Oh, 100%.
We didn't say anything. We just looked at each other like,
oh no, the pass came across, and before it even got off his stick, I go, "There's the game," and then he whiffed, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, what just happened?" I was like, "How did what happened?"
hey,
And it was just crazy.
Was the one who capitalized on the chances they had.
That's right. And here's the thing: did Canada outplay the U.S.? 100% they did. 100% they did. Were they the better team? A lot of the game they were. But guess who's part of the team? Your goalie. And I'm telling you right now, Connor Hellebuck won that game single-handedly. He was the best player on the ice, and the best player on the ice helped the better team win. And the better team, goalie through 20th player out there, was the USA. So you can be mad because you outplayed the US team. Connor Hellebuck outplayed you. So the best team did win. So go cry and throw a fit and go help the Loaded Avalanche win a Stanley Cup. I don't care. You were not the best team. The US was. And they won gold and just shoved it in Canada's face, and it was fantastic. Before we get into some of the post stuff, so quick recap. The bronze medal. We didn't talk about the bronze medal game. It wasn't a game. Sweden kicked the living daylights out of Slovakia. They got revenge for that 4-1 loss, and they put up 6 goals pretty quick on them. It wasn't a game. So it was a beatdown. So Finland takes the bronze, Canada takes the silver, and USA gets their 3rd Olympic gold medal 46 years to the day of the Miracle on Ice. I'm giving you your props. You had them 1 through 3. You had the gold, the silver, and the bronze. I went with my gut. I didn't go with my gut. I went with my head of what I thought based on what I saw on paper. I just couldn't give U.S. the edge over Canada, but They played a gutsy game, and like we
Yeah.
said, the difference in that game and what the U.S. had an edge over Canada in was in one area, and it was goaltending, and goaltending is what won them that gold. So the things that we thought needed to happen happened, and they pulled it out. Um, so for you, surprise or best players in the tournament, or big things that you felt like needed to get brought up? Because I have a few players that stuck out to me that I was like, dang, they were electric.
Few players. I mean, you got to give it to Hellebuck. I don't understand how he was an MVP. I get it, McKinnon or not McKinnon.
I don't
McKinnon
either.
set like a point record, but there's no gold medal for the USA if a different goalie's in.
No.
I think Quinn Hughes needs his tap on the back. He had an amazing tournament in that game versus Canada.
Sweden.
Sorry, the Canada game. We looked kind of dead there, and he was pulling a lot of work for us, and he was playing really well. For some other teams, Slavkovsky, what a tournament he had! What a tournament he had! Some knocks. I think we talked about on the last time we recorded. It was who's Sweden's goalie. We don't know. I think all three of them ended up playing a game, or at least
Yeah.
I think they all did actually. Yeah, and it took them 3 games to figure it out, and they lost. They lost their division or their group because of it, and they ended up losing the U.S. I wouldn't say that one's on a goalie. They just couldn't score. Their goalie played pretty well actually. I think it was Markstrom in for that game.
Yes.
Let's see. You got to give props to Italy for hanging in some of those games. I mean,
Dude.
the Finland one was really bad, but they had a chance to win some other games. Sweden, they could have beat. They got away from them at the end, but without where was Clara got hurt. He was outstanding.
Yeah. That was going to be one of my guys.
The Slovakian goaltender as well. I don't know how to say his name.
Halavai or something.
Oh yeah, Halavai, something like that. He had a pretty good tournament. And I'm pretty sure he's a wild prospect, so they don't need another goalie.
So, of course.
Let's see. I didn't get to watch a lot of the Finland games. I was either at work or in class.
Like I said, with Finland, like there wasn't a ton that stuck out for them because they do just play a complete game.
Yeah.
Samuel Halavai is a Minnesota guy.
Yeah, which of course another goalie. Awesome.
They're just awesome. His name's on the map now. We've got another trade piece.
Yeah, I think this is my biggest takeaway. This is my opinion. It could be a very horrible opinion, but in the gold medal game, 3-on-3, there is an awesome argument to have Makar, McKinnon, McDavid out there. But which one of those guys is like extremely defensively sound?
No.
I like Makar offensively.
McDavid would be the most one.
Yeah, which isn't the greatest there. And you saw McKinnon. He could have probably had that puck, but Werenski beat him for it and led to a goal. And I'm not saying the other two guys were any help there. McDavid let Jack Hughes wide open over there, but maybe you need a more defensively sounded guy on those 3-on-3 lines who can kind of, I don't know, be the supporting factor there. I mean, you don't need the three best players in the world to score a goal. A McDavid, Makar, and then maybe you put out like a Tom Wilson on that line. Maybe you have a better chance there.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of different options there.
I can't do anything about it. It's just my thought.
Yeah. No, you brought up a good one because you had a couple people from mine. I had a couple goalies on mine, and Samuel Halavai was one. He was outstanding for the Slovakians. He made a huge name for himself. And then Damian Clara was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like he had to have set the record for most saves in a tournament. He had like 160 saves or something. And if you combined at one point, like through the quarters, like the top three teams, they had less saves combined than him alone. Like it was absolutely insane. And it wasn't like easy shots. Like he was standing on his freaking head doing it. It was awesome. I enjoyed watching those Italy games because you expected them to get stomped on. I had them being the last team in the tournament. And they weren't because of him. so that was fun to watch. Um, Latvia, Germany, Denmark, nothing really stands out. Um, Czechia, not a ton stands out for me. Um, Switzerland, I like their game. I thought they played pretty well together. I don't know if there's necessarily one standout. I just thought they played good together. They have a sneaky number of NHLers that you don't really
They
think
do.
about.
They do.
And that was a team that the more I looked into it, I was like, this could be a dark horse contender here.
Hmm.
Because I liked a lot of what they had and what they did. But then my big ones, you hit on one already. Uri Slavkovsky. I thought he, if McDavid doesn't put up the point totals that he did, and again, what happens if they don't have France and they don't score
Yeah.
12 goals in that game or whatever
Yeah.
it was? Like, what's the point total then? But Uri Slavkovsky, as a 21-year-old, drove that team and was phenomenal on one line.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna give props to Dalibor Dvorsky. He set that rookie record for us with 3 goals, 3 assists in the round robin. He played excellent as a 20-year-old or whatever. He was
And won in
19.
their group with their goal.
Yeah. So he's already made his name for himself. He kind of did the Slavkovsky from the first tournament where he was fantastic in his first Olympic appearance, and now Dvorsky gets his Olympic appearance and looks great as well. And us Blues fans that we don't have a lot going on right now, like it gets us excited to see like this dude's legit and what he can be as a 19, 20-year-old. So it's getting us a little excited about something. But then other than that, I texted my dad. I'm like, Hellebuck got the monkey off his back. I thought he deserved tournament MVP. He ended up with like right at a 1 goals against with like a 9.6 save percentage. Like, what more do you want from a goalie to win the MVP? Like, I thought that was kind of robbed. And I believe the all tournament team was Hellebuck, Makar and Hughes on defense, and then McDavid, McKinnon, and Slavkovsky as the forwards. And I think those are pretty fair. I think that's probably perfect. And it sucks because
I just thought about this one.
who?
Matthews had a really good tournament, and not in like points wise, but it's 200-foot game. And
He did look a lot better.
Great passes. He was amazing for us.
Yeah, he was always in front of the net. Always in front of the net, doing the dirty stuff. It wasn't about shots.
He had the puck right in front of the net where he should have shot it, but
should have freaking shot that puck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
put something on the net.
Yeah, Toronto fans are either pissed because he looks so good or excited because he looks so good. One of the two.
Yeah.
Maybe a little of both. But I do think Matthews had a great tournament. I don't get to watch a lot of Ottawa. I was really impressed with Brady. I know what kind of player like his brother is, and I thought he was hands down the better Kachuk brother. I thought he looked awesome offensively. He's going to muck it up because he's a Kachuk, but what he did offensively and leadership, like when they had him mic'd up, some of the stuff that he was saying and doing with the players, I'm like, I like this. Like, I would love to have him on my team.
Agreed.
And I think he is the meaner of the two Kachuk brothers too. Like Matthew might get into it more, but I think Brady's meaner. And I love it.
Yeah.
So I thought he looked great. And then the one other player, I did think of a Finn, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Rasmus Ristolainen had a really good tournament. He looked really good defensively. And that's going to be perfect because I think he's going to get traded at the deadline, and he just boosted his stock a lot. So I was impressed with him. I watched a lot of the Finns, and he definitely stood out. He was always making good plays. So him and Mikkola, I believe, played together, and they looked pretty solid.
Yeah.
But yeah, so one of the things. So why are things popping up on my computer? One of the things that I was just going to share out real quick for those that wanted to see. This was our final bracket. So the quarters, Czechia beat Denmark, Sweden beat Latvia, Germany beat France, Switzerland beat Italy, and then we talked about the rest. So this is just how it went down. We wanted to give you, for you visual people out there that wanted to see it, this is where it was. This is how we got to where we were, and this is ultimately how U.S. captured their third Olympic gold medal. And then the thing that I love the most is I love watching the celebration. I loved seeing them get to do everything. And I'm not going to lie, I'll be the first to admit it. There were tears shed from me, and it was not because they won the gold. Like, yeah, I was excited. There was definitely screaming and celebrating and hugging of people. But what got me when I teared up was this. When this happened, I couldn't, like, I was talking to somebody who didn't know what was going on, and I was trying to explain it, and I got choked up and I was tearing up. There may have been a few that fell, but like I couldn't get it out because this was awesome. Like immediately when they won, the first thing that you saw was the Kachuk brothers, Werenski, Matthews. They're bringing out the Johnny Gaudreau jersey with the American flag, skating that, holding it up high for everyone to see on the ice because of how big of a role Johnny Hockey had on the USA hockey community. And then, you know, they're going to get their picture. They've got their medals. And what do? They skate into the stands. They grab Johnny's kids, who it was his son, Johnny Jr.'s second birthday. And they skate into the stands and they bring them out for the team picture to hold up the jersey of their dad with them. It got me. Like, this is the best story of the whole thing for me, was this moment right here.
100%.
Cool. So I love that it went that way. Like, I saw a picture when I just saw it today of McKinnon taking that shot and missing it wide, and they like had like a very like light shade of a person, and it's Johnny Gaudreau like sticking his stick out there to block it, and I was just like, oh, you got me. Like, good old Angels in the outfield, but it was Angels on the ice, and it was Johnny Hockey doing it. So it was just awesome. So everything about that and how it went down, like, couldn't have been better. Like, you want to see a good game. As much as I wanted to kick the crap out of Canada, like, you want to see it be a competitive, good game, see it go to overtime. And then, you know, I loved it because for anyone who doesn't watch hockey, you watched a dude get his teeth knocked out, bleeding everywhere, pick him up off the ice, not miss a shift, and then go score the game-winning goal of overtime. Like, and to see him smiling with the chipped teeth and the blood, the American flag on, like, anyone who doesn't watch hockey, I'm like, this is hockey. Like, that is what these players are about. Like, this is how we compete. This is how we care. And this is the kind of thing that you're going to get. You're not going to get load management. You're not going to get some fake, silly little turf toe injury. You're going to get guys that are going to go out there every night and lay it down on the line for their teammates. So I thought this game was perfect to show off our sport. For those newcomers, like, this is something that grows the sport, our games like these. 100%. So I couldn't have asked for a better Olympics. It was fun. It was exciting. We got some surprises, and it ultimately went the way that we wanted it to go. So any last thoughts before we head on out?
Nothing. I couldn't believe it. I mean, the domination from Canada, and then somehow we pull out a win. And to win both gold against Canada and OT, women's and men's, was something pretty special to see.
Oh, yeah. I loved it. Hopefully, I think this is going to continue that rivalry. I think instead of the U.S. being little brother now, maybe Canada sees them as the equals that they should be. And this is just going to lead to more heated rivalries. So I would love to see more four-nation type stuff where we get those fights where they can fight and we get that heated rivalry. And then we get to see. I know, and you can't fight in the Olympics. It's very disappointing. Well, and the other thing is, the one last thing that I did want to bring up is Canadians are all mad. Well, you won them 3-on-3. You didn't complain in 2010 when it was 4-on-4 and you won. Like,
No,
we played NHL overtime rules then, we played NHL overtime rules now. I still hate
I
it.
want to have them. They won 2 games in 3-on-3 overtime too. I don't want to hear them
Yeah.
complain.
No, you don't get to complain because you didn't complain then. You don't get to complain now. I'm going to complain as an American fan when we won this. This needs to get fixed. It needs to be 5-on-5. You need to play like we play overtime in the regular season. We don't play overtime in the playoffs. Like, it should be 5-on-5 until someone scores. Golden goal. Like,
Yeah.
why is the Olympics not doing this? And I understand why, because the men's hockey was the last event. They had closing ceremonies like an hour or two after the game. They didn't want this to drag on, which is why we got the 7 a.m. game and not like the 2 o'clock game like we've been getting. So I get it. Put the gold medal and the bronze medal game both on Saturday then. Don't put it on the last day. Put it at a primetime time. Let us play a full 5. Like, don't do that. So that would be my only complaint about the Olympics going forward. If we can get 5-on-5 hockey, the Canadians will throw a fit. So hopefully it'll get changed this time. But I think that's going to be it for us today. Next week, we are going to do a trade deadline preview, primer, recap. There was a couple of trades that went down today that we didn't get time to talk about, which is okay. Nothing massive. So we will be back next week to do a preview / review of whatever has happened. Because I don't know about you, I think that we're going to see some trades now that the freeze is over before the deadline gets here. So don't miss out next week. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about those trades. We're going to get some predictions of where we see some players going and are they going to stay or are they going to go? Because there are some very, very big names out on this trade market right now. So that's going to be all for us today. As always, like, subscribe, do all the stuff to help support us. And as always, 10% off using code athletes at w.com. Thank you guys for joining us. I'm Cody. That's Julian. And we will see you guys next time. See ya.